for joining us. We have a lovely packed house here, or a cozy house as I like to think of it. We can call the meeting to order at 6:01. We would all just please to say, but if you're I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
We have Kate Beaupellant, Megan Wicks is here,
Present.
Kathy Grant, Arka Kawara, Valerie Musciano, Suzanne Miller. Rachel Ricard is absent today. Also present is Scott Fetter, Amy Sofoletto, Lloyd Johnson, Brian Musciano, our first selectman, Crystal Snyder, and myself.
Okay, to do each board meeting, I will recite the Voluntown Board of Education mission statement. The Voluntown Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. So just to review the agenda, welcome our guests. We have our Brian Musciano and Crystal Snyder joining us from town, and Joanne Weir, one of our esteemed teachers at Voluntown Elementary School, joining us as a guest. So thank you for joining. I know that our guests are here for the public hearing for our budget. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Mr. Fetter to go over our budget proposal for 2026-27.
I'll log into the Zoom.
You gave me that already?
And the email, yeah.
Crazy glare right on the computer.
Recording in progress.
I got you. What's that?
Turn your volume down on your computer.
What can you see now? You need me to
You
share?
can do your presentation. Go into your presentation now.
You need me to share, right? Sorry, guys. Can you see it on the screen?
There you go.
There you go. Good? All right. All right, so for this meeting, I've combined 3 different presentations and added a few things and made it current. So I did a first meeting with the board, a second meeting with the board, and then we did a meeting with the staff the other day. And so this is kind of encompasses all that to be more of a full presentation of all the components. So one of the main things I want to start with is how I go about doing a budget. And even though I've talked a lot about money and budgeting and finances, I want to go over some philosophical beliefs that I approach it with. Number one, every dollar we spend is about kids. Now, when people say that, like, but no, you spend money on facilities. Well, why do we spend money on facilities? For kids. Why do we cut the grass? For kids. All of it is about kids. Every dollar goes there. And that's how we operate, right? So when you make a decision, if you go by this philosophy, it really does help drive how you spend money. It really does. So the other thing I do, and I continue to do, is educate as much as I can about the budget. So it's funny, I've received multiple communications from various people telling me, wait till you get to the town budget meeting. I have no concern, to be honest. People will give their opinions, their thoughts, they'll have questions, they'll do what they do. But if we're transparent and honest, that's all you can do. And we will be. And the budget will be clear. And it will be spoken in a way that people understand it. So that's important. This phrase, and Brian and I were talking with Crystal this morning, I shared, this is a phrase, this is how you operate. Do the same or better for less. The answer is yes, do that. You can do it same or better. You do it at your homes all the time. You figure out ways to do that. Now, doing less for less, that's the easiest way in the world people budget. The most obvious one that we do is if you're tight for money and you normally go to China every year on a vacation, you might not go to China that year. Maybe you're going to stay in the country for that year because you're going to do a little less and it costs less. That's easy. That's not really budgeting. That's just doing less. So we don't try to do this. Sometimes you have to do this, but that's not the philosophy. This is really slow, sorry. So if you need, not need, want is not the word, it's need. If there's a need, you have to deal with the need. So that's how you do it, right? So this is not like brain surgery. I'm just kind of, just do it. Then of course, these three things are incredibly important. If you do all of this and you are thoughtful and you have the ability to communicate this clearly, that's why I don't really worry about doing budget presentations. Doesn't mean everyone's going to like it, but I don't get worried about it because we're doing the right work. As long as we can do the right work, that's what we do. That's what we're here for. All right, so what makes a budget go? Like, what are the things that drive it? High school in a K-8 with a send-receive relationship, which is what we have, high school is a big deal. The piece about high school that's different from almost all of our other components of the budget is we don't get to decide. You can decide what high school, but that's it. Once you're done with that, the spending is at the high school level. And if they raise their prices, they raise their prices. You can choose to not go to that high school, but really it's a major driver. And this year specifically, it's a huge driver for us. Enrollment drives a lot of things. I'm going to specifically talk about one of those, how it helps as we go. Special needs students are always a giant part of a budget. And it should be. They are our most needy kids. We take care of them, just like anybody else. We take care of them. There's a driver. Energy, let's talk a little bit about energy. In your world right now, energy is a driver. I asked Brian, how much was it to fill up your truck?
$75.
And how much was it a month and a half ago?
About 50, 45, 50.
It's a driver, right? Insurance is a big deal. We'll talk about that. And of course, your facilities is a big deal. There's other things that eat up your budget, but those are big drivers to a budget. So let's just talk about high school for a minute. So I thought you'd be interested. We have 38th graders that are going off to 9th grade. That is, you can think that, well, that might be good for the K-8, but that's not good for the high school budget. Every high school kid is a tuition, and so we have 30, that's the breakdown, that's where our kids are going. As you guys did before I got here, you made some changes. We have Ledger we have our first inaugural Ledger student next year. We have 2 going into Ellis. Remember last year, none. This year, 2. And all the parents who kids did that, they do know that as of right now, the bus stops when it stops. We have no new students going to marine science, and you can see the rest up there already. So we have 5 going to tech schools. And again, financially, that's good for us. It's good. Anyway, just thought you'd be interested in that. Again, just about that, Killing's out, Ledger's in, marine science is ending, Ellis Tech is ending, Ledger is the new option. So that's all just to remind you for people. So how does enrollment affect us? Anybody know what that number is? You know, I have to do my numbers. What's this number? What is it?
K-8 numbers for next year.
It is. It's our enrollment K-8 next year, projected. Things could still change. How about that?
High school.
Pre-K,
Sort of.
Pre-K?
pre-K.
Or high school. Eighth grade.
Who's it? Sue, ding ding, got it.
Eighth?
We currently have 38th graders. Next year we have 19. So you can see what happens, right? So now, budgetarily, not good. You want 30 12th graders, not 38th graders. But you see, as I've shared with you, the high school numbers next year is a driver of our budget, big time. All right, so let's talk about preschool. So here's the situation in preschool. Amy and I have met, I don't know how many times. I think we've gone back and forth 1,000 times trying to figure out the best way to do this. Now, just so you're clear on how this works, I assume you do, but remember I talked the first time I did budget, I'm gonna treat you like you don't know anything. We do a school readiness grant. Amy runs the grant, she applies for the grant. We do that based upon the number of students that we know about now. Right, it's about now, right now. And that's how it drives it. Now, the problem with the grant, if we say, well, we have 30 this year, right? 30 kids this year, with 28. And we say, you know what, we're gonna have 28 again next year. Well, then we have to have 28. If we don't, they're not gonna give us the money. And if they don't give you the money, this budget, tax budget, is now eating the money. Can't do that. So, based upon our current enrollment expectation and what we know, we are not able to do the same amount next year. Next year, we're looking at 17 to 18 total students. And the way the state funds us is a full-day program from the 9,000 range, a half-day program in the $6,400 range per student, and you tell them how many students you project. We obviously can't go to 28 because we'll wind up paying a whole bunch of money to have class sizes of 8 preschoolers. We can't afford to do that, nor would I recommend you do that. So, in looking at this year, the district budget on top of the school readiness grant spends $72,000. That's what it's costing us today to have preschool. Where that's a little weird, if you think about it, is 4 of the students don't go to Voluntown. They don't live in Voluntown. They're out of district students. There's a point where you have to be careful of this kind of stuff. So we don't have permission next year to invite other students in. So the fact that we put those 4 students in our grant as a number, but the grant only gives us $6,400 for those 4 kids, we're spending $72,000. So when we go next year, the most we can run is 1 half-day program. Teacher, para. We'll put in the grant for 22 students. That's $6,400 a student. Comes out to $140,000 of grant money. And that's what it will cost to run the program. Right now, we're looking at either a $33,000 out of our budget instead of $72,000 or possibly nothing. We don't know that just yet. We have to wait a little bit longer. One of the conversations we had today was we have a few things up in the air. This is one of the things we have up in the air. So right now it's still in the budget, the full amount, and we'll see where this goes over the next month or so. But this is a big deal. Like when you talk about spending less, doing less, we're not really doing that. We're still having the same program, we just don't have the kids. So we get to save money and still do exactly what we're doing now, which is educate preschoolers. So that's kind of where we are. It does involve staffing, of course, but it's where we are. You can't change enrollment. We can't. I think Amy wanted to go out on the road with a sign. She wanted to wear a little preschool costume and have a sign up now. I didn't want to do that. But Terry would do it. He would do a great job of it.
But if we did get a, random bust of, boon of kids,
Well, we have room for right now 5.
Right.
That's a lot. You don't usually get random kids out of the woodwork.
I mean, you can get it for other towns, but definitely not in ours.
But right now we don't have permission from the state to pay for other kids from
Okay,
the
so it's
state.
purely, we're just gonna purely,
We need
yeah.
So we can't go shopping.
5 for just in-town, we have openings for in-town kids.
We have 5 openings for in-town kids. We also leave some for special needs students that may come in.
For
so-
free.
So even if there was 5, We would still have to instill a lottery because we still wouldn't reach the threshold for another classroom is really what that would be. So it would have to be lottery driven, just like in many other towns, you know.
And a classroom is about 140,000.
Yeah.
To operate a classroom, it's 140,000. So that, you need that many more kids to help the grant pay for some of that, and we can't guarantee that. And if we did that and we spent the extra 140 and we didn't get the kids, not really a good situation. So it's unfortunate. Not what we want to be, but it is where we are. So that's a big deal. That's how enrollment drives budget. Right? Pretty clear. So really, I'm not going to get too deep into this. I kind of went over this before, but these are the factors that impact special needs monies. The biggest one, of course, is out-of-district placements. The second biggest is high school tuitions. Those are your two giant money drivers when they happen. I will share, we have some information that at this moment in time, it is possible our high school tuition could go down by over $50,000. But we don't know that for positive yet. That was a conversation that we had today with Brian and Crystal, was that's an outstanding topic that I can't do anything with today. But it is possible before the final budget rolls in that we might have some room there. So, and again, we all don't want to charge taxpayers for monies that they don't need to be spending.
But the reality is, we could have somebody rolling.
You could.
Before
So-
the budget.
So the thing about that is interesting because before we had a 2% budget account, remember the 2% lapsing account, we're gonna be opening that next month? You had no contingency plans. We will have somewhat of contingency next year by putting some money into that account.
Right.
And that's huge. It allows us to budget differently, Kathy, right?
Yeah.
If you have a contingency, you can do things a little differently. Remember, we can't put things on a credit card. You know, we can't just say, oh, that was more than we thought it was gonna be. Oh, well, it's, you can't do that. But a contingency plan would be the 2% lapsing and still having some room in our budgets. And I'll be able to go over that more in a little bit, but right now I don't have, Lloyd's been working on it though. We're trying to get the information, but we have to be a little cautious. It's too big a number to not be cautious with, right? Obviously in-house what we do, transportation, because that's another big part of this, is if you have a student that has an IEP or going to a school and they're the only student going there, that could cost you, if you don't have your own bus, it costs you $40,000, $50,000 just on the transportation alone. So all those things impact a lot. And Kathy said it, what we don't know could hurt us. It rarely happens that a child with a very expensive program moves out though. No, you ever noticed that? They don't tend to go anywhere. They stay where they are and they bring friends. But that's kind of where we are. Everyone's favorite topic. All right, so I did this with you guys before. Just gonna do it real quick again. Remember, this is what I told you last time when I got here. Those solar fields, what a waste of money, what a horrible, blah, 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 solar fields. So we got into it. Not at all. Good move. Because your actual costs in 2014-15 were $63,500. And your actual costs in 23-24 was only a few dollars more. There's no way any of your energy bills show only that much growth, unless you also did something like a solar project of some kind. And here's a really interesting, what could have been the 63,573 if we did not do solar, and you use all the trends that are in your national norm trends of energy costs, 84,000. So we're 70, that's every year compounded, right? So all those years of savings you get. So good move. Okay, I wish Brian was here because this is, all right, so the other Brian, sorry Brian, you're here with the other Brian. All right, this is really interesting. So that is how much we pay per gallon for propane right now. We've been using the same company for 4,000 years. And that's the way it goes. Well, tonight we are asking you to change companies. This will be our new cost per gallon. Are we going to get rich? No. But guess what? Propane is propane. The company we want to move to is a local company. They have been around, good reputation, it's good stuff. So we're excited about this. So you got solar, you got propane, and then nothing, because it doesn't move. Fuel. No idea what to do with fuel right now. However, Val brought up a point that we are going to be exploring, and that is, can we put our own tank in? Can we do our own fuel? So where this really came home to me was the other day, I stopped to get gas, actually. I was trying to beat the $4 number. I paid $3.99, I was very happy. And right next to me was one of our buses pulling into to get gas. I can only imagine how much that fill up was going to be at massive amounts of money. So like the propane, we have to determine, can we do, remember the purpose. What is the purpose of gas? Getting the bus to pick up the kids to get them to school. Nothing sexy about gas. But if I can get it for cheaper and the gas still does the exact same thing, shouldn't we do it? So that's the way I have to look at it. Same concept. And if we can save enough money, this could be a big hit. The propane tank people, they generally will put in your propane tanks for free to get your business. So if we can get a gas company, and the propane guys do not do fuel, do not do gasoline, they ask. You never know, we could be a good hit here. So thanks for the idea, Val, and we are going to explore. Another big driver is health insurance. So this year we are looking at a 11.7% increase on all of our health insurance. What that comes to is this year we spent $621, next year $690. So when I say it's about 11.7, the premiums are 11.7% increase, but who has insurance? The varies by staff participation. So you could have someone that's now off insurance or someone that's going to be on insurance. Different things happen with that. But when we add up what we spent last year to what we're spending next year, it does come right about that 11. It does come pretty much close to that. That's a huge number. And that is also one of those things that is that we can't not, the only way to reduce that number is to reduce the number of staff. It's the only way to do it. You reduce staff, you reduce insurance. That's it. It all comes together. We are still part of the Connecticut State Health Plan. And if we want to explore that, that will take some work to explore that, if we were going to look to do that. The other big driver, facilities. And we talked about this today. I'm going to share a little bit, because we're going to be doing this next month. Mm-hmm. Critical infrastructure. So a few years back, was it, when we put the generator money in?
Yep.
Right now we have an account waiting for the generator to die. Well, generator's doing okay right now. So we talked about how we can still access that money for the problems we have now. And the best way I can look at this, the best way I can describe this, I think is the one I used this morning, is let's just say that your roof has got a few years left in it at home. And you know that your roof's going to be about $20,000 to $30,000 to replace your roof. And you're looking at your money and like, I don't have $30,000 to replace my roof. So you immediately start saying, we're going to save money over time for the roof. Let's just say after 3 years of saving money, you're almost there, but your roof is still fine, but your air conditioning system goes. What do? Do you leave the air conditioning untouched? Or do you take some of that money and put it towards the air conditioning? Or do you go into debt by borrowing money for the air conditioning? We have no debt choice, right? We can't do debt. So we would borrow. Right now, we can't touch the generator money. But we're looking in the final budget.
That would be part of the capital projects.
We're looking to change, not new, change the $85,000 from generator to critical infrastructure. Because right now, if you think about what is critical infrastructure, our water holding tanks are dead or almost dead. That's critical. You can't not have that happen. We have to deal with that. On top of that, we have the HVAC system is critical. Can't really run your school without heat or air. Fire panel is critical. Can't operate your school without a fire panel. And yes, the generator. Of all four of these things, the one in best condition is the generator. And that's where we have money. So if we move the money through vote of the town, no new money, so no cost to anybody, just rename it, generator fund, critical infrastructure fund. That's our plan. That allows us to then take this money and apply it right to the water holding tanks. And then slowly keep building it up. Because the next one's gonna probably be the fire panel. And that fire panel could be a ton of money. And you can't not have it. So we're gonna try and be real strategic and free up money that's already in existence for better usage. And I thank Brian and Crystal for that. So that was a big deal to try and get this done. We've talked about it for a couple of months, and Crystal and Brian figured out a way to get this going, so.
I think fire panel's been on our kind of queue list of like getting a slug anyway, so, I mean, right now, if that doesn't work out, we have a slug for fire panel, a slug for generator.
Yeah, while it's still allocated towards the generator, you can't do anything with it until you complete the generator fund, the generator project. And at that point, then you could transfer the remaining monies to another project. But it's just sitting there until you do the generator and you have other things going wrong, you know?
So what we talked about is critical infrastructure, but not like the superintendent just says, hey, it's critical that we have beautiful purple carpeting. No, there's a great building committee. The building committee can work with the school, what's critical. Those four we'd all agree are critical infrastructure. But this does not use that money that the town thought was valuable for critical infrastructure needs, generator in the case, to just use it for anything. So not remodeling, not vanity projects, critical infrastructure.
So how does that work in terms of, because you just made a good point about like critical infrastructure, so is that, because right now with the building committee, they would make a recommendation and then, excuse me, the Board of Ed has to approve it. Is it that same process, or is it goes to the town to approve it?
No,
It would
Just what you said.
It would go through the Board of Ed.
yeah, we have to go back to the town because the money is now allocated for critical infrastructure as determined by the building committee.
But then the building committee has to have it approved by the Board of Education to spend
Well,
that money.
always, yeah, we can't spend any money without that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure there's some level of, like, I don't want, oversight is maybe not the right word, maybe transparency is a better
is.
word, right? In
Yeah.
terms of what that's, like, who is.
We'd be
approving
presenting at a board meeting.
That you wanted to use these funds.
Oh, yeah.
From the critical infrastructure to update the water holding tanks, and then that would go to a vote from the Board of Ed side.
Yep.
Okay.
Like you have to approve the contract to do HVAC project, anything like that. We can't do projects without you. So don't worry, Megan, we still need you.
Yeah, no, I mean, if anything else wants to.
I'm dark. Oh, that's why, because it is dark. So class size, a major driver. This is a weird dynamic. What just happened here? Hold on a second. No idea what happened. All right, well, we'll keep moving. Anyway, what this budget gets us, that's what this slide is. Maintains our class size, maintains our student supports, maintains extracurricular opportunities for kids. In fact, we're expanding a little bit in baseball and looking to do some combined things together with Griswold, I think, Amy?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting. So our kids get something we can't give them. This is always great. All of our traditions for VES, maintains your high school choice, and deals with our critical infrastructure needs. We have two right now, HVAC and water, and this budget accounts for that without going to the town for more money. So that's what the budget gets us. So we're gonna play our little numbers game again, because I know you guys had so much fun last time. Sue was, I think, our winner last time, by the way. So we'll see how you guys do today. Anybody?
Last year's budget.
Very good. It's 100% of last year's budget.
1%.
1%.
Sue, they're gunning for you, Sue. You didn't get a chance.
Need a buzzer.
We do need a little buzzer.
bill. Special ed costs.
She knew. This is our increased special ed costs for next year. Increase. Now remember, there's a big number in that might go down. We just can't commit yet. I've been trying to get Lloyd to commit, but he won't commit yet. And he's right not to commit. He knows the situation, he knows the volatility of this situation. We're gonna wait a little longer and see where we are, but that's gonna be very helpful in the end if it works out financially, and good for the student as well. That's also, what?
2.6% of the budget
That represents a 2.6% increase
increase.
to the budget, just that alone. And that's the special needs increases. I was hoping for an A for the class today, but I don't know. That is the,
1% for next year's budget.
that's not abnormal, just so you know. People see that number like, oh my God, it's not crazy. You generally see between 20 and 30% in a district of the dollars that go towards special needs. So it's not a crazy thing. In fact, we're almost at 20% of our students are special needs. So therefore, you're not looking at, where that would be weird if you had 5% of your students with special needs and you're spending 27% of your budget on 5% of the kids. That's not the case. So it's not out of whack. That's just our tuition increase. Just tuition. Specifically, that's in Griswold, Wheeler, and NFA. Just those three schools. Nothing to do with additional placements. These are for things like speech, OT, PT, and then in general tuitions. Remember, when you throw 30 kids into the mix, this happens. It's not because those schools did something bad, where they raised our tuition rates out of control. This is the reality of sending a very large 8th grade to the high school. So this is what you are floating. As of tonight, we are still right here. Okay, so that's what you approved to send over to the town. That's where we are today. There are a few outstanding issues that exist that could lower that. I have no expected ones to raise it, but we are looking at some things that could reduce that. Okay? Just keep that in mind. We have time to still play with that. I don't like to reduce to a point where we're in trouble if anything happens, but we're gonna have some room, I think. So that's what we're looking to do. So this was something we talked about last time, and I went a little further with it. So I want to do a little bit deeper dive on this with you. So cost per pupil, the important number here, you can't compare Voluntown to the state. Doesn't work, doesn't make any sense, you're not the same. But what you are similar to are other school districts with 350 kids or less. We rank 6th lowest in per pupil cost of those districts. That's a concern, that would be a concern number if you were like the highest. You would need to have some other rationale for why, what is it about? And there might be one, but we don't have one. So we're doing pretty good actually. And it's your size, the configuration, and in our case, the fact that we don't really get funded enough money for the national forest. So that's just that. But I want to do this. Anyone remember this?
It's a state forest.
Huh? State Farm, sorry. Does anyone remember this?
National forest, yeah, I was like, national park, wow. When did we get?
Anybody remember this? Someone's gotta remember this.
Like that's a toy.
Joan?
Yes.
Joan, what is it?
Yeah,
How does it work?
I don't remember what works, I used to sit on my grandparents' camp, and it would go up and down, up and down.
This represents a tipping point. The bird goes like this.
Yeah.
And eventually it gets enough water where it dunks into the water. None of you? Fine. But that's what this is. It's a tipping point. So I'm gonna do a little quick thing with you. Student enrollment, because what happens with cost per pupil, people say, you have less students, you should be spending less money. Doesn't work so cleanly. There's a tipping point for that. And I'm gonna give you an example. If we had 20 students in a classroom, and that classroom teacher costs $100,000. You do, Val, I'm counting on you. How much is the cost per pupil for that class? Say it out. $5,000. Now, if I go down, a student moves out, and now I'm at 19 kids. Can I reduce my costs? What happens to the cost per pupil?
About 53.
Until you get the bird in the water, you can't reduce money. Doesn't work that way. So there's a tipping point for all of these things. In preschool, we had a tipping point, right? Because if we had too many kids, we couldn't do that. You'd have to make a decision to not educate some of the students, which would be called doing less for less. That's different. That's not what we want to do. Let's look at a family. So I'm going to use my family. So I have 2 girls. So we have 4 in our family. Sammy, my oldest, went off to college first. Did my mortgage go down? I tried. I called the bank and said, I got one less kid. I should be paying the same amount for my mortgage. They said, no, keep paying. Alex was next. She went out. Now we have a decision to make. If I want to reduce my expenses, what do I need to do? Correct. Tipping point for a family at some point is they move out of a house, if they so choose, because the expenses are too high and the value is lessened because the number of people that live there. I'm not saying you have to do this or all people do this. Just in general, that's what happens. So we did. We sold the bigger house, moved to a smaller house, reduced our mortgage. Then I moved to Rhode Island and I have a higher mortgage. I don't understand why I did that. But that's the way it works in a school. And I think when you brought up, Kate, the idea of this concept that people get upset about cost per pupil, when they see that the number is going down, the people automatically think, that why is the budget not just going down? It just doesn't work that way. It does at a tipping point. If we were isolated to preschool, we have a reduction in expenses because of enrollment. But that is not the way it works across the whole system until it does, until the bird hits the water. I'm gonna find one of these now because I can't believe none of you know. Like, ruined my whole plan. All right, so how do we make this magic happen? What do we do? What's our work? Our work, shared service review. Talked a lot about this. You'll see when we talk about goals a little later. I think this should be a goal of the board to do this work. I think it's exciting work. It's good work. We met today to talk about possibilities of shared service as well with the town. Grant funding is a big deal. I'll go quickly over that again. How we go line by line in the budget, how we look at it and say, I call it assignment of funding. And so in other words, you're making sure that the money in this account is doing what that account's supposed to be doing. And we kind of realign things and we check some things out. I gave you some examples last time. And we've done that for this budget. So this budget is, I call clean. It's a very clean budget. This budget maintains, and we value this, so we kept it. Low admin costs. We're not. I didn't come in and say, hey, you think you're gonna spend more money? This is big, I say this all the time, but since they're here, I'll say a little bit more. This has been a huge positive with Brian and Crystal. So thank you both. And I think there's a lot of potential here, and possibilities of what's possible to do better for less, which is the goal, right? For all townspeople. Town, school, doesn't matter. It's all one bucket of money at the end of the day. E-rate I shared with you, 30% off of a lot of things. We've been signed up, we're doing it. Lloyd is getting into the Medicaid issue again. We tried this some years back. We're gonna look at it again and see, again, if we can save money, we should, period, the end. And bus fleet, as I told you, we new buses, able to reduce funding in your maintenance account. And we're still looking and seeing, depending on how things shake out, of whether or not we should do one more bus or not, but we're not doing the wheelchair bus, as I shared last time. As of right now, the budget does not hold any money for another new bus for next year. But we are talking to Emil about possibilities and changes within how we do maintenance right now. So hopefully there'll be some ways to save a little bit of money and do at least the same for less. And you have negotiations this year. So that's work. That has to be done, and that directly impacts the budget as well, right? So this is, real quick, looking at these things. How do we work with the town? How do we work with the school districts? Those are just some ideas on the kinds of things that could happen. I think I shared with you Sterling. I shared with you about Sterling. They're going to NFA next year. And they could drive a bus right past Voluntown to get to NFA. It's one of the directions they could choose to go. And I received a call from Ted, the superintendent, and we're gonna look next year to try and combine our routes in some way with NFA and Sterling. Easy peasy. Why send multiple buses if you don't need to? So those are the simple kinds of things that might be possible. In any of these areas, I still have a vision where all the little districts together are designing their special needs programs based upon where our kids are needed most, where we could design it so that one school maybe be autism, one school might be this, one school might be that. In big districts, that's the way it works. We're not a big district, but we can act like a big district. So that's one of the things we're looking at as well. So big deal, big stuff, good stuff for the board. Grants, I'm not gonna go over all these again, but these are a list of our grants. And those are all offsets to our, can I talk a little about, so there's three other grants that we get. And the best way I could tell you about this is this document. So this document is from NFA. This is our cost for adult education. So every year we send NFA a $19,694 check from the school that goes to there. The state of Connecticut gives the town, school, however you want to say it, $7,800 for that purpose. Now the district has always gotten this money in the way it gets bundled with ECS funds, but it's never been applied to a line. When we get Title I money, that money gets applied to a line. So if we have a teacher that costs $100,000 and we get $50,000, we only budget $50,000. If I would budget $100,000, the taxpayers would spend $50,000 and the state would be giving us $50,000. You're overtaxing. Not on purpose, not to be bad. Can't do that, shouldn't do that. So we're working to do whatever has to happen on the crystal end, because I don't do that part. But we get $7,800. That needs to come off, applied to that check. So when we budget, instead of budgeting $19,600, we budget $7,800 less. It's all the same money, it's always been there, just never applied. So we did that in a few of the accounts, which helped the budget. So again, no new monies, and you reduce the cost of the taxpayer. So again, that's why this is awesome. We can do the right things like this and get through them, even though they're tricky. But tricky doesn't scare us, we just have to do it, right, and get through it. So that's the example of a grant. We get an adult education, we get another one for kids that we send to marine science. We get money back from that. Those all come off the books now. So it's good stuff. So when I talked about this, these were the specific ones, these were the specific ones we went over last time. So I'm not gonna do that again. But if there's ever time we have more questions about anything within the budget, you always just reach out. Always available. So like I said, we are still working. We're always looking for possibilities and opportunities for kids. And I'm not 100% sure on anything, but my goal is to reduce this further with real reductions that are legit reductions, not just to make it lower. That's not the way I want to budget for you, for the town. But if there are things that we can do to reduce this, I talked about a big specific one, we should. So that's how we're approaching this. Brian understands that from our conversation. I don't want to speak for you, but that's where we were today.
Yep.
And by our next meeting, we should know more and be able to commit to a couple things that we're looking at right now. And that's where we are. So where you are is another blue screen. I just put this back up again. That's where we are tonight. All right. And with that, open the floor to our community members. So your community members, all of them, to represent everybody
Well,
tonight.
I tried, that's all I
That's a
could.
good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
My only question I was making some notes on was, why is the state not allowing us to invite preschoolers anymore? Is there a reason why?
I don't know if Amy has a reason, I don't.
It's just through that new early start, because it's moved from school readiness to early start, and so they're focusing on our, within our residents. Doesn't make sense because it's state funds, but it's just,
Well, it's just a shame because I always work.
yeah. I mean, we always get a handful, we don't get like a lot, but people who live close by, that help us maintain that full program, so you can reap the benefit of the money that comes with it.
Yeah. Anything else, Joe? Crystal O'Brien?
My question was really just about, I think it's NFA that bills you on the previous year's enrollment. So you're really gonna see that hit next
We
year.
get a big, I mentioned that to the board last meeting. We're gonna get a hit next year, but the way special ed, I think, is differently, right?
Correct.
Special ed is immediate.
Yes.
And so our big hit for that is already in there.
Okay.
So it won't be as, if that wasn't, then next year's budget would be in trouble. But because special ed's already being accounted for in this year's budget, that will just maintain itself. But next year, remember, we're sending only 19 kids. That'll help offset some of the other numbers. And again, if we keep getting more kids into the tech programs, that helps as well. So while it's a big class, 5 kids are a tech program. So it brings it down a little bit in the long run. It was really the special education needs that caused the bigger jump, but we will have a straight regular education tuition jump from NFA next year. They'll count for, and we had you saw the number of kids going to NFA.
13 is a big number.
It's a big number, so that's gonna hit us next year, unless we go talk to those families. So maybe you wanna, Preston's a really nice town.
Yeah.
Preston's a really nice town, they could move there. Just kidding. Anything else? Right?
I talked to Brian Kay this afternoon about you talking about the propane tanks. Are those gonna have to get changed? Because they haven't been looked at in like 30 years.
So they're coming to look at them, they will take care for free, whatever has to be done for that. That was a big part of the conversation.
Free's good.
Free we like free a lot. So, no cost for the transfer over, just simply a reduction of about 70 cents a gallon. And have locally serviced. We have not been having the best of experiences with our current situation, which prompted the look. And we also received information from this
Shocking.
group.
The whole town.
And that's part of the larger structure. When you're small, people are not always that interested. But if you're a bigger buying group, people suddenly care more. Just the nature of the beast. So we're hoping to get some of those things done. But yes, that was part of the deal. And they talked about how they would do it, what it means, what it looks like, and the whole process with us the other day.
He said, well, I wish I was going tonight, because I forgot, but I think I mentioned it to him,
Yeah, no,
he was going out there.
yeah. The next trick, like we talked about, is can we install our own gas pumps?
Now, right now, are we required to use only one gas station in the area, or can we shop around to the best?
We're not required. We don't have contract. We're paying the rate you see on the signs. Credit too, because it's all credit.
Right, but like there's other gas stations further down the road that have better rates. than
They
the
don't
one-
only go to this one.
Okay, that was
I was just
my
saying, when I
question.
was there that one day, it brought it home for me. I'm like, why is there a big yellow bus sitting?
That was my question, are
Crazy.
they able to kind of
Shop around all
use Gas Buddy and find out exactly where the
Well,
cheapest
the question
gas
of
is?
like, are we using a point system? That is a rebate system or not? I don't know the answer, but when you say that, gas buddy, you gotta maximize every dollar. Every dollar's a dollar. So we got to be a little better on our gas.
Stop at Shop and Shop, stop at Shop.
BJ's, go to BJ's, $3.75.
Yeah, go to BJ's. If there was a Costco, it was too far, but by the time you go to Costco, you've ruined your.
You're gonna need gas again.
Yeah.
I'm not going on the bus in my.
But Preston is almost, the Preston gas station right down the road is
Well, we'll-
almost consistently less.
We'll keep looking at this whole issue and see what we can do. But, yeah. Any other questions from the board?
Getting any inklings from town folk on what their, concerns are, or has it been pretty quiet?
It's been pretty quiet, it has, last year was a little crazy, but I think it's a little better this year. And so we should be good this year, I'm hoping. So,
How much are you looking at?
what's that?
How much are you looking at for your budget?
Right now, it's like what, 4/7?
So there's a lot of, just like your budget, there's a lot of moving parts right now, so we're not really in a place where we can, we don't wanna make promises on numbers and then have them change. But we're definitely, I think, in a reasonable place, and our whole perspective is just to be as transparent as possible. So questions should be pretty easily answered because the numbers will be in black and white. So,
But there'll be some cuts to what we're doing right now, so.
Well, that's good, just to hear, whatever, just the initial feedback that you're hearing, so that's good. And like, as to echo what Scott is saying, it's just really great to work with you both and the whole staff, and I think the more that we can have these preliminary presentations and look at each other, it's, just see that, make sure that we're kind of aligning our messaging, so it's, there's no questions before that meeting.
one thing that we're really trying to kind of push for this year is to just get information out about how the community can get involved in the process. One part of our budget timeline that is often overlooked, I think, is the budget hearing. A lot of people come to the town meeting itself, but skip the budget hearing. And the budget hearing is really the time to come, give input. At that point, we'll have the budget for people to look at. And they can see, where we're making changes or where they think that there could be improvements, because once we get, so we've put out a flyer, you've probably seen it on Facebook. The budget hearing, that's the discussion, we're having a discussion. The town meeting is the vote. And of course, there's still discussion, but that's when we're bringing the call, that's when the vote's gonna happen. And so we're really hoping to encourage residents to be more involved earlier in the process this time. So spread the word.
My door's always open. I told everybody at the last Board of Selectmen. After that comes out, if you wanna come over, talk with me, I have no problem with that. So, I thought I'd be getting budget questions, but I'm getting road questions, bridge questions. So I'm getting every other question.
Of course, yeah. And I think you guys know the feeling of kind of getting blindsided by increased amounts of money, looking at, the snow removal from this year.
Yeah.
We have to deal with, an out of district placement, you guys have to deal with 25 inches of snow in one shot, so it's.
Plus the windstorms with the trees, and we've had a lot of that this year.
There's a lot
We're
of,
really not doing that bad with it, monetary wise, so.
there's a lot of the other reasons, there's a lot of sort of factors. At this point, and we were just on the phone with Heather Summers and Brian Lanu this morning, at this point, right now, the governor is cutting $65,000 for our pilot funding. If you don't know what pilot funding is, payment in lieu of taxes, so we're 70% state forest, we're not receiving tax monies for that 70%. And so the state sends us, which is kind of a pittance at this point, but they do send us funds because we don't get tax money for that. It's really been a struggle to make sure that we don't, just like the ECS funding, we're hoping to at least be held harmless so that we'll get the same funding that we got last year. Heather's on the job at this point in the Senate, trying to make sure that we can try to amend that, or, if we can't do it through pilot, maybe do it through the municipal revenue sharing. So we're sort of working with, what's happening with our revenues, and so as those pieces kind of solidify, we'll have a better idea, but right now we're working through it.
Thank you, guys. Welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, of course, if you
I'm
like.
good, I gotta go.
We only have a couple hours left.
When you do a kid performance, like in the beginning, you have them do something, and it's like,
The time of year.
yeah, you can stay for the budget presentation, like, oh no, we gotta go.
Joanne,
How come I thought I had a little bit of the eyes?
I know.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, guys.
Crystal, good to see you.
So do we,
Crystal, good to see you.
nice to see you here, Wendy.
proposal to approve it, but we need to make a motion.
Yep, so now you make a motion.
Yeah. See you later. All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Oh,
Thank you,
Yeah, bye-bye.
thank you.
Based on Scott's presentation and our brief discussion, do we have a motion to approve the 26-27 budget proposal of $7,592,066, $2.87%?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard. Any abstentions? Heard. Motion passes. We will forward it to town hall for public dissemination. Great. All right, well, I think our public comments just, I think half have occurred left, heard otherwise. So, maybe motion to add an agenda item, correct?
Yeah, so, we have to add a motion for, like, this time of the year when you do your non-renewal notice. So we have to add that on for one of our staff members, and also that we want to do the propane vendor. So again, propane vendor, pretty much one of the easier no-brainers of our existence. There's literally no possible downside here. These are a great company, a local company, and significant savings. That's a real huge savings, almost 30% savings, which is pretty huge. I wish all of our energy was through propane now. That would be a big
I
savings.
know, I was thinking about like,
But
what else
it's not.
could we fuel propane?
I know.
I was gonna ask that.
I did, it's funny, I was asking, talking about that,
Yeah.
like, well, I have oil, I just paid $1,350 for 212 gallons of oil. Like, oh, that hurt. What does it cost to change over to propane?
No.
What is the break-even number on the install versus the savings on that, so. But, yeah.
Okay, so just an motion to add, those two items, a non-renewal of a non-changing t-shirt and a propane burner under new business. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we will put that at the end of, or,
New business.
yeah, end of new business. Great. Moving on to the consent agenda. These are approval of minutes, the disbursements, function object reports, so forth. Are we, okay, making a motion to approve it as presented?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none heard. Motion passes. Now we have administration reports. So we can step order.
One of the things I just wanna talk about tonight was, Alice in Wonderland, so that was awesome. It was so much fun, it was adorable, the show was absolutely adorable. Big thank you to Kayla and Darlena because they put in a lot of time with that, and, the show, it seems like a lot, but then you watch it, and you're like, it finally came together, so that was great. A lot of our families come and they make donations to drama through, raffle tickets, concessions, so it was really a great time. They held the family dance, I had over 120 people come to the family dance, that was a lot of fun. I had her glow shirts on, I did, the glow shirt, the glow dance, the lights were off, people were glowing everywhere, so it was a lot of fun. That was great too, and so we're just moving in now to like the last half. Report cards will come out next, after vacation, so we'll be on vacation next week. Report cards will come out after vacation. The middle school dance, our a little bit more of a semi-formal dance is actually the week we come back, that Friday night, from 7 to 9 p.m. So we're underway with that. There's a lot of field trips happening. You see, they come to the board. So a lot of those pieces are in motion. We will, start the process for our early start grant again and allocating spaces, so I will go through that process again. A couple meetings to go to for that. We were awarded, we also have to go through NIAC accreditation within the next year, so that's another piece of preschool. And I applied for the grant funding for the support service for that. It's a very complex process to go through that accreditation and reaccreditation, so we were awarded that, so I'll start working on that, those dates and coming up, so. Screen-free week, the last plug, that's huge. Mark your calendars, May 4th week, about 5 to 6:30 each night. That's a big YSB event, so let's promote that for YSB. And PTO also has the basket raffle, so all those baskets will be there every night, so that should be good.
Scott, you have just such things to look forward to on Spring Free Week. It is just.
I came last year
I did, you did.
to.
To the
yeah.
the
Was that also the
final.
book fair one? Is that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I was there for that,
Yeah.
And there was a Kona ice truck, I think?
There was one night, yes, yes.
So if there's a Kona ice truck,
There's
that's.
a lot of things.
There's a lot of, I think they're trying to for every night,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this
I'm
might be one of
very-
those things.
It's a very big night here, like, you know, I don't know in other districts if they do a lot, but I just feel like it just culminates together between YSB and PTO, so it's evolved to something really, you know, great.
So people were like, wow, you do a lot.
You really do a lot with
I
that,
know,
we're
this,
like, yeah.
people were really shocked, I was like, it's all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
people just wanna come out, they wanna hang out, kids wanna hang out, so it ends up being good time. May 4th. Fourth be with you. That's it. Great.
Any other discussion for Mrs. Saporto? Well, you know you're very busy.
A lot of things coming.
Yes, there are so many things, but again, yes, the stellar performance put on by the drama club and all the folks that volunteer their time to help with it. I mean, you know, it's not just the kids and the coaches and the parents that drive them and everything. I mean, it is all them. They're front and center, but there's a lot of behind the scene work that goes into it, all the teachers that volunteer and the woodworking and the painting, and it's just a lot, so it's, you know, really a wonderful
And that,
testament.
you say that, I do also wanna put a plug out, to Nancy McBride. So Scott always says how, like, all these retired people come back, they come back, they come back. And so Nancy came back, Nancy's been gone for probably 8 years, right, now or so. And so she came back and did that set, so she came back in the afternoon and painted that, so it was really, you know, great having her back and do that piece of,
Yeah, it was stunning, it was
Yeah.
just looking back at the pictures, I'm like, I can't get over it, you know, when you're trying to look at your kids and listen to the stuff, and then you're like, she's beautiful, but then just looking back at it, it was just stunning, so, yes, definitely, wowed and impressed, so, it's just a labor of love.
Is someone coming?
Oh.
I wonder if they thought it was 7 o'clock. It's possible. There you
How are you?
go.
Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, but you?
There you go.
No, I just wanted to mention, I know you didn't bring it up, but, I was talking to Scott at the DARE graduation, sixth graders, grade sixth graders.
yep, we had deer also.
So I
Yeah.
just wanted to just
Yeah.
mention that, I was talking to Scott about, I don't know if that's like a mandated program, because I do have friends with similar age children that don't seem to be going through it, so I did wanna just make a shout out that I do appreciate that we still offer that, I think that's a great program.
It's like that old school, like I would say when we were in school,
Yeah.
you know, like old school type program, but the trooper does such a great job of giving them something different than just being in a seat, right? He brings a different, like, he brings the world out to them there.
And that big line he gets out is just awesome.
Oh,
He used this gigantic line
yeah,
to the kids, it's like, oh my god.
and it is a good focus now, it's not so focused on, you know, it's more on like healthy living and healthy habits, it's so much, but it's so much
Yeah, you
better.
mentioned there about, even with the, like, online,
Yes, that's a huge piece.
Yeah, online safety, so I did wanna just make a call out for that, since
Yeah.
that's something else great that we can do now.
Agreed. Great. We can move on to our, I think we're doing what? We're special services. Dr. Johnson.
Just briefly, I did reach out to the representative that we have through the Bureau of Special Education about the concern with the policy recommendation regarding the need to provide a brochure every year to a student who has an IEP or a 504 disregarding the child's age. The Bureau objected to that line in the law when it was being considered. But the law was still passed, so it's still there. I have not seen the brochure, I assume it hasn't been produced yet. I'm thinking of ways to really involve the parents in this process, because I'm concerned that first graders getting this brochure. It's a legal requirement, but I'm hoping that by providing it to the parent, they leave it to them to talk to the child. And then as the kids get older, then members in my department will talk about how to go about that. But I want the parents to know ahead of time that that's a new state requirement, and try to work with them to figure out how to make it work. Probably in most cases it won't be much of a problem. I am sensitive to how much parents want the children to know about the nature of their disability. Scott's already mentioned about community management services. Our transition meetings are going along fine with the schools of choice. The last links testing is completed. I want to thank Emily Nelson for taking care of that for us. She did a nice job of getting that done with Amy's support. And we developed a report for Scott today regarding the seed grant. We have a spending plan for almost the entire grant. There's a couple $1,000 left. I want to see what issues emerge between now and the 1st of June. But when the things we purchase arrive, it's gonna really help. We have a couple of significantly disabled students who've already received some things to help them. We have a new lift that you might see in the front lobby for our students. But, and Scott's indicated that there may be a second year. Thank you.
Just have one question. So any of the students that are accepted to this tech schools, are any of them have special needs?
Yes.
Some are,
Some
I was hoping
504s.
yeah, I was hoping they'd take some.
Yeah, they have to, and they do. They do a really good job of they have ramped up their services that they replicate. In my mind, they replicate what a typical high school offers, so that they can handle kids with that. The only issue usually is they have to be able to, with support, learn the content so that they can achieve the credentials that they're working 4 years towards.
Any other questions for Dr. Johnson?
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
I'll be quick. So I also want to just congratulate the students at Kayla and Darlene on the play. If you didn't get a chance to see it, it just so cute. The kids are just too cute. Doing play with little ones is always incredible. Also, I didn't know, I met Nancy for the first time last night, but the scenery, you would never think you're at a small elementary school play with all that scenery and the beauty of it. And they had a lot of movement, so if you were there, you know they took a lot of time to make sure to set up well and.
That stage crew, I mean, they were working.
Stage crew was working.
There were feet beyond there going nuts under there. I thought there was like 20 pairs of
Well, you saw little feet
shoes
under
going
the
around. I was
bed.
like, wow.
But really, really great. And also, you gotta give kudos to Terry, who was the Mad Hatter, and stellar.
Yeah. As the usual.
Yeah, great stuff. So kudos to
He's
that.
amazing. A student wrote his script.
Yeah,
Which
Steve
I
was-
found
that was the caterpillar.
Incredible. I know,
The
it's
caterpillar
incredible.
wrote the script.
Yeah, just handed him the script to Zach, like, to all the creative genius was one of our own very own
That's
students, which is incredible.
So I don't have to harp on this, I talked about in the budget, but the idea of our shared service work, I think that's gonna be potentially a huge thing for the district in many ways, both specifically directly towards kids and as well as operations and finances, so excited about that work. And we're partnering with the town, looks like we have some really good wins right there for everybody. And this is, I mentioned it quickly, but this is something that Andrea Kelly's been working on. We have some students, and I think you just sent me today, Amy. We have some of our middle school students that will be playing baseball and softball with the Griswold kids. So we don't have those, so opportunity, so mini shared service. Any opportunity you can give kids, gotta take advantage of that, so that's exciting work for them as well. I did go over the preschool as well, so most of the things I was gonna talk about specifically were kind of already, I kind of infused into there, but I'll just keep rocking and rolling, and all those things are just, like, as Amy talked about, there's just a lot of great traditions here. Like, you know, it's small but mighty. Like, there's just really a lot of really good things for families to come out to, and it's really exciting, very family oriented, very cool, so. Okay, good to go.
So we can move on to, without any other questions for, yeah. Mr. Feder, we will move on to old business. We've got a lot of policies that are kind of in play these days, so, but obviously we'll be given a couple of cycles of our board meetings to take a look at them and bounce questions back and forth. And I know a big bulk of this particular assignment has been related to special education and our IEP, so I find it just even just reading it, if you can get through it, it's 17 to 18 pages of it per type. It's just refreshing to kind of see what the steps are and you know how thorough it is and how obviously important it is and the different variations and regulations. So the first policy, though, that is under old business is educational opportunities for military children. This is the second reading. So look at that with Megan and.
I think this one we just had to take out the alternate language on the back
Right.
and just leave it at the discretion of the district for the related to was leave and deployment.
Right.
I don't, my thought is that this doesn't happen significantly, that you have to have like very rigid, right? So, I think that's how it is this time.
Do you need to see the change or you're clear with that?
I got it.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I need a motion to adopt the second reading of policy 5118 spot 2 on educational opportunities for military children, as amended.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? None heard? Motion passes. Item number 2 is policy 6159, the individual education program. This is the second reading. We've had some.
Yeah, there was a question, I think outstanding on the student when they reach 14.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what we were
right,
discussing with Boyd. So do you feel comfortable, Boyd, that, I mean, I know that should we wait another reading until you actually get, or is it just up to us to kind of adapt to
The
it?
law is the law. That's what I was told.
Right.
He wasn't happy because the Bureau took a position
Yeah,
that there should be some, if they linked that distribution requirement with the 14-year-old and what we do for 14-year-olds, I think everyone would have been more comfortable, but it's not linked. It's
it is what it is.
K to 12.
Yeah.
But,
Elementary is-
but we will do everything that we can within the realm of staying legal, but respecting parents' rights and their preferences to it. And listening to what my colleagues would be doing once that brochure, you know, people would do the same way that I do. How they want to. I don't think the Bureau is done with their wanting to have an adjustment, an amendment, or a change.
Right.
They haven't dropped it. It's something they continue to be very concerned about. So I think as feedback begins to flow and people share their concerns with having to actually go through it, perhaps the legislature will change its mind. We don't know at this time.
I still found, clerical errors, that's just my opinion, my comments that I amended back to DD, but that's fine. Okay, so are we comfortable there then making a motion to adopt the second reading on individual education program as amended? Motion,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Or abstaining, none heard, motion passes. Okay, item 6, policy 6171 is additionally special education, third reading.
So, the feedback that I had for this was not related to the, well, it's sort of related to the policy under the evaluation of the special education program. I could not recall, we have a curriculum steering committee, or curriculum committee, but I don't think we have a special education committee outside of the actual special education program, is that correct? So I'd like to just put it out there for you guys to think about potentially having, not that anybody wants any more committees, but within the school, having more of the general education teachers having the ability to provide their input. I know that the special education teachers and case managers, I think, are meeting regularly with the general education teachers. But I'd like to put out there maybe consideration for a more oversight in terms of, allowing general education teachers to provide feedback related to IEPs and additional support they need in order to actively follow IEPs in the classroom. And I think because there is evaluation of the special education program, I'm just curious as to what additional feedback is being solicited in terms of, because obviously special education program largely impacts the general education teachers. And maybe you guys already have something, but if not, I'd like you guys to maybe consider something along those lines to make sure that, it's a cohesive education for that student who's in and out of general education and special education. Arthur looks confused.
I'm not actually describing a committee.
No,
You're
it's just
describing more of a process.
Yeah, a way to provide feedback or solicit feedback or, because I know that they're, again, I believe they're meeting, the case managers are meeting with the general education teachers regularly. But I think that's more, if my thought process is correct, that's more related to individual IEPs rather than the ability to provide feedback on the special education program as a whole. Or things like, they might have an idea for, like the training for their para in their classroom, or that they would like to see them more trained. Like, I just want to make sure that there's a way for the general education teachers to provide that feedback on the special education program and also ask for help or how they can most effectively implement an IEP that's within the classroom. So again, not anything
Not changing
related
the
to
policy,
going
just
into
the-
the policy, but something that I'd like to at least throw out there as you guys implement your programs. But other than
Yeah, I mean, there's
that,
like,
the
I'm just thinking
policies-
like in line with the evaluation.
Correct,
Like,
right,
it can be
like, exactly.
like part and parcel with, however the report is formatted, there can be a line item or something, something how that's included, but
Right,
I think that's the only level we can
correct, yeah, it's not general.
implement here is via that piece of it, the evaluation and our discussion around that and so forth, so. Good one. Language otherwise, I think we're fine. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the third reading of, we are doing, 6171? It's a second reading, sorry, second reading. As amended. It's a third? Yes, third, I don't know where my, both of these things.
Kawa, it's okay.
Oh, it's third. Okay, we got Arca and, what was our second?
Okay.
Okay, Val? All in favor? Alright, any opposed? Unheard, motion passes. Last policy under old business is 9230, the orientation of board members. This is, it's quite personal, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you read it.
I'm really confused by the adding of this because
Yeah.
what are you gonna do if I don't? Right though? Right?
It's a bylaw, so
Single
it's, yeah, it's.
Bylaw, but, and so almost none of bylaws are enforceable by real teeth level action.
Right, I mean, it's an elected position, you can't do anything. It's not-
There's actually there's no mechanism for a board in most cases to remove another member.
Right.
Because you're an elected
That's
official.
so weird.
This is more about providing training to new board members. The section in red, it's like new, that's what Nick Caruso was sharing, that him coming out and doing that
Counts.
professional development fulfills this new,
So then maybe it should say first time
I'm
elected.
determined by the CD, this Connecticut Department of Education.
right,
Does it have to be in there? Is that the thing?
it's a new,
Can we change the wording to first time elected board members shall be offered or provided training program that minimally? Or it has to be this language?
No,
this is what Cabe recommended.
Yeah, no,
I don't suggest altering that language.
Yeah.
They'll come back and get.
And, yeah, that
Well,
also
yeah,
counted.
So when if you're ever audited on the policies, or you're ever challenged on policies, or and some member makes a claim against a board member, and your policy, the first thing a lawyer's gonna do is grab your policies. And if your policies aren't following law and statute, that's what they get you. That's why you don't mess with it. It just doesn't,
Right, but Cabe recommended doesn't mean it's the law,
and
right?
Cape recommended doesn't mean it. It's just, sometimes it doesn't have a big enough impact to ever put. That's why I look at these policies.
Yeah, but like, why have a policy if you can't enforce, or information on a policy if you can't enforce it?
We can't enforce
Exactly.
all the bylaws, you can't enforce.
Like you're speeding, you can't get caught.
No, but if you actually look at the board, if you look at the bylaws, it's shall, it's like what we shall do for board members. It's not like you must do this, you must do this, with the exception of that last bullet, it's like
Yeah,
you
are
must do
to
this.
complete.
Like, it's fine.
I don't know if
That's the better
there's,
thing to do.
I don't know if there's like a fine, they could, you know,
No,
if you
no,
don't, I don't know.
If it's legally required to be in there, I mean, just keep it in there, but it's kind of silly, actually.
I don't know.
I think Megan should go for everybody to come back and do a workshop.
No. I think I'm not.
We've never been offered anything like from this Department of Education, like the Connecticut Department of Education, like it's like, I've never seen something that says like this is from Kate, like that
Yeah,
says,
this
Kate,
is so
you're in charge of
weird.
Voluntown, you must do this because you said so.
But like,
Tell all your minions, you know, no. that's-
there's nothing they can do. But maybe it protects us, right? Maybe
Just
to your
protects us.
point, right? Like if it, well, it says, well, you were supposed to complete the training, you didn't, so it's not like.
There might have been more of an explanation in that big policy update that I,
I just.
I mean, I was thinking like, is there anything we wanna like remove, like that's not Kate required, so. But not besides the red, like that we have to have, but the other parts were adopted for many years now, and so it can be, if there's something in the language that just doesn't seem.
I mean, are you doing number 5 and 6?
I was just gonna
Well, that's what I
ask,
said,
I was just
you know,
gonna
like-
ask Kate, I was like, you've done that?
I don't think it's very organic process.
Is that what we're gonna call it?
I meet with Sue and with Rachel regularly at the gas station for like.
Dunkin' Donuts.
It says a meeting, that's all. A meeting.
But like a mentor, provide a mentor.
I know.
Or you, it could
Well,
request.
think about it, these are good practices.
They requested,
Like, they are good practices.
That's why it's so
Yeah.
weird that number 8 is not May. Like if that was May, it'd be consistent. Sorry guys.
I know.
I call move on.
There's certain years,
You're gonna get the motion to do the training for board members.
He already did.
Superintendent will.
Yeah.
I believe they've done this with every
Or
board.
designate.
I'm on the zoning board, and I have to attend at least 2 hours of education this year. Being newly elected to the zoning board.
Right, or what? Or what? Honestly, okay. Thank
Let you
you,
know
Val. I
that,
appreciate that.
yeah, both Sue and Rachel joined us at the conference as well, so.
Yeah.
So it was a great, I think it was a great boot camp for
Yeah.
new members.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Nick's presentation is wonderful, so I feel comfortable making a motion to adopt this second reading.
Yeah, no, you don't kick me out. I'd like it to go to a fourth reading.
Come on.
Okay, only because our cast.
Do we have a second on the fourth reading? No second.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt the second reading?
Approve.
Aye. Any opposed, Megan?
I missed who was the first one.
Okay. None heard yet, kind of, but yeah. Motion passes to approve it.
I think Val's on my side though, guys.
I have to, it's like what you learn, the more you know, when you just read the men.
The more you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that completes old business. Now we have to move on to new business. A few policies here just to make sure we're up to speed with. There's the public conduct at school activities, which is, wow.
Yes, the question I have is focus.
Oh, boy.
So a lot of our school activities happen on the Constitution field, which is not actually under the Board of Ed's like jurisdiction, is that correct? Correct. So a lot of this
Oh.
policy is not factual then, less.
I mean, this would count for all the games and stuff too.
No, I understand
In
the
the
things that
gym.
happen within the school,
Yeah.
but I don't know, do we need to modify this
Those are
policy?
school-sponsored activities.
But it's, but like, I don't, you know,
So because
you
we
have
have
the
the
ability to
Constitution
kick
field,
somebody
doesn't
off
mean
the
it's not
Constitution field.
They
I don't
have
think
it
that-
passed.
Yeah, but if they refuse to, like, you'd have to call the cops, right? I mean, I don't know.
They have requested people to leave
Yeah,
games
Uh,
on Constitution
understood,
Field.
and I would hope that they would, but I don't think we have this level of, but.
If it's school sponsored, we have every right to.
That's
Yeah, but the
behavior.
The Constitution, like, you can't stop them from going and sitting over on the basketball court, right, for a soccer game, so.
That's true.
Right. Because it's town.
Right.
Right now. Again, I just, if we're gonna, if this is.
It goes back to the policy that, yeah, like that we have one, and
Yeah.
that it's, you know, I think it really, it's kind of the reverse, like, we have these expectations, you know, maybe now at our events where we're actually making prior announcements. I know, it's just interesting,
We don't make this announcement at a soccer field.
that's what I'm saying, is it like, is it set at?
We make it I know we do this at the basketball games.
Yeah.
We do it at volleyball games, we do this at games that take place in gyms.
And they
We don't
do it,
have a
I mean,
loudspeaker, like, attention.
Yeah.
they do it at, I mean, they do it at an phase level, you know, I mean, they're sitting, you know, because they're doing announcements to the players and everything, and they're before the national anthem, so it's like they follows in line, it's just what,
Other towns do it at their soccer
Yeah.
games, so.
right, I mean, obviously they do it at the,
Yes, Colchester does.
yeah, they do it during rec and things, but.
But even, I mean, it says school sponsored activities, so like hypothetically, last night at the play, right, you didn't put out your expectations, so.
I think it says also it can be listed, like it can just be, you know, a sign
Could be in,
there, and
could be in
then,
the handbook.
yeah. It's a handbook.
Included but not
Well, that's
limited
why
to.
I was just curious if this is a required policy, or if it is just already encompassed under something else and we can just not.
I think this is the only one we have like this.
Yeah,
It's,
I mean, it's all,
Does it say on the?
it is recommended, not required,
It's recommended.
but, and I did forward this to Andrea, just to give her a heads up, as the athletic director, this is going for a first reading.
Right.
She was excited about it.
I think she, yeah.
She's had.
If you have a
Yes,
policy
exactly.
specific to the behavior, you're then able to enact on it. If you can't do it at the soccer field and you can't do it whenever you
There to
can,
be able
it's
to
good
access.
to do that.
Yeah.
We've had cases already at basketball games
Yes.
where we've had to
Remove
Deal with-
parents from the basketball court.
deal with people. Could we have removed? Yes, from what I understood, we could have. It's not always our parents, it could be a parent from another,
School.
yeah, a visiting team and stuff.
I think these are very valuable, you know, on all fronts. I mean, if you hear something, a brief, you know, whatever we want to message as a school and a community, you know, a set of values that we want at our events. It's not just for parents, you know, the kids hear it too, which is sometimes just as important, you know, and that, just the set of expectations behavior, so.
Yeah, and I don't disagree that we should have the policy, I just didn't know if we had it, if it was encompassed already in something else. And, you know, then my
I think that's a question back, yeah, the
Right.
first reading.
I would like to, if Andrea is the one
Yeah.
that is kind of the overseer
Yeah,
of
the
subject
policy
matter.
committee could reach out to her and communicate.
Yeah, because I don't want anybody from the school in a constitution field, in an argument with somebody that's
Right.
like, I'm a town-paying citizen, I have a right to be, you know, I don't want
You
that.
just call the cops if that's what we're gonna do.
So we're sending this to a second?
Yeah, it has to be right. So our next one is school safety, right, the preparation, response, and action. School safety committee stuff, so this is all red.
Right, yeah.
All red.
Right.
Kids made their money on these policies.
Again, this one is just to note that this is, they're trying to, CAVE has really been like consolidating. I don't know if you remember recently, we did this policy itself.
Yeah.
This is a regulation that they are adding
Oh, okay.
to get rid of another policy on safe and secure facilities. So the rest of the policy remains, this is just a regulation and rescinding policy 3516.
All right, that's a good refresher on that one, so
Yeah.
we'll take a
It's
look at
just
our,
the regulation.
yeah, make sure that it's, okay, thank you. That's this going second reading. And then our final new business first reading is the proud
Yeah.
policy on AI.
We've been waiting for this for a couple of years now. I
Yeah.
remember, it's like, CAVE will come out with one eventually. Here it is.
Here it is, so get out those reading glasses and just gnaw on it for a while, and we'll come back with our thoughts and prayers.
Is this a good policy to give to?
Sorry, I'm still reading the spectator policy. I was in, like, what is this?
Okay, AI,
so
isn't Megan involved in that?
Yeah.
So maybe have a look at it and see what she thinks as well.
Do you guys give guidelines to the teachers related to AI in enforcing the classroom, but also in their own curriculum planning, or are you guys not there yet?
I don't think they're really there yet, actually, the elementary one, it's, you know.
Some great tools for supporting staff with
Yeah.
that. I mean, there's
They're
amazing
waiting for
tools.
this, like that's the thing, it's all the chicken before the egg stuff, that you're not gonna like, of course, they're free doing it.
But yeah, it's a little, it's
My
tough to have policy when you're not.
wife wanted to know where she should plant her garden, right, in the house. So she took a picture of the backyard and loaded it for AI, for ChatGPT to tell her.
With some.
It's so much more than we can, that's nothing, like, I think this is.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's amazing what's possible, it's just,
It's
the implications on school, I believe it's,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll remember, Val, specifically, when calculators became really using, and back in the standardized testing days, we taught high school, so we were different, but in elementary world, the big question was, can kids use a calculator for standardized testing? And then they would write your script of when they were allowed to use it, what section of the math they were allowed, and what section they weren't allowed. And now we're in an AI world, which makes that kind of insane by thinking about a calculator. You know, an AI could write your paper, it could do your research, it could do so much. So, you know, using AI is a gigantic undertaking, and having them infuse that. And this gets debated over and over again, back and forth with, you know, how much is too much,
Right.
how little is too little. And I've always approached cell phone usage, for high school levels, and things like AI, as how do we make it usable because it's real? And, but you don't want kids, you know, when you're learning how to do something, using a resource sometimes is negative. You're in learning phase, but so you're.
Amy, I have a friend who's a principal who has like he has that technology mind, but he does a lot on AI, training his teachers.
Yeah.
He's happy to come in and
gotta
talk
do
about
it,
how to use
I
it
think
for good,
yeah.
how to not use it for evil. You know, he's got a really, but also to help teachers, really.
Yeah, cause I think like we're just bored,
It's
you
really,
know,
yeah,
you're
just,
so used to like that old school
Yeah,
type stuff,
so
but I
getting
mean,
into it,
there's a
but-
lot out there.
yeah, he really does a nice job with it, so.
And they're even now, TV, like Braille-only and
Yeah.
stuff, they're not allowed at no magnet to use that, but I don't even know how you tell whether they use that.
Well, then you can go put your stuff back in to see if it like sniffs out AI in your paper, you know, like, so like,
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
So bigger than the ways, the biggest concern that I think we need to focus on starting even in kindergarten is discerning information. AI has changed how information is given and received. And so, you know, I think my wife sent me a text today about, is it true that all people are going into the draft? Right, because there was a rules discussion about a bill that was passed related to automatically being registered for things. Because it's just it's not like a draft, but then what happens is people take a piece of information and create debate, and then know, you know, how do you know when it's that versus real? And you know, during this whole last month and a half, like right now, is the Strader Hormuz open or closed? Does anyone know? How do you even know what information to listen to or not listen to? What's actual news versus what's someone's doing is clickbait.
Commentary.
And they use real AI imaging to create real looking, and they do it in a way where it's like, wow, that's legit. So the concept of how to discern is, I think, the biggest challenge we have. Bigger than the idea of a kid using it to write a paper. I think that's almost old AI usage now. In comparison, like that's gonna change so fast. And I think that one thing.
How it actually changes your brain, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a picture,
Mind's eye.
and it was like of a kitchen, and I'm like, oh, I love that kitchen, and my daughter looks at it, she goes, that's AI. You know that's AI, Mom. I'm like, shut up. It's so like, it was so cool that I wouldn't have even thought that by looking at it initially, and then she looked at it, and she's like, oh, that's AI.
I know.
The refrigerator has 7 fingers.
But really, it's the, what does a curriculum look like that starts in kindergarten? Very different, right? It's, because when you teach reading, you have reading readiness, and there's AI readiness, and there's social media readiness, and all those things are intertwined now, because AI is now dominates social media. It used to be social media was rough enough. Now AI dominates social media. You don't know, you honestly have no idea. The kids do, or they're better at it than we are.
Yeah.
But you have no idea if you're looking at something that's real or fake. Is it made up? So teaching kids how to go back to finding primary sources, the old days, but that's so valuable. I know when I see something that I don't believe, I try to Google and try to find any other corroborating piece of evidence that whatever that was real. And I'll tell you, it's 9 out of 10 times it is not real. It's just not. It's not. It's someone, I don't understand why they do it. Like, I still haven't figured out like I'm looking at this, there's like 1 million hits, there's like 12 people looking at this. Like, why, what is the purpose of this? I don't even understand. But it's It's very, very, very difficult.
Nobody's marketing.
And it is the part of AI that's gonna drive, is determining is it real or Memorex. For those of you that know what that term is, if you remember the commercials, is it real or Memorex? Is it the real sound or is it a tape of the sound? And it's tough. But to me, that's where AI is taking schools and teaching kids how to manage a reality that exists. And the more we hide that the reality exists, that's not gonna, I just don't think that's gonna be the answer long. But that statement I just made can be debated with equal force on both sides. Keep them away from it versus help them understand it. That's the paradox a little.
Well, yeah, I think that this is, obviously it's gonna take a while to get through, and a couple of sources that we wanna feel about it, and I think we're gonna have a couple of rounds of discussion on it, just, it's worth the time to take on it, and at least as our group feel comfortable with where we're obviously putting a tiny pin in, because it's just gonna, we're gonna see it over and over again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's hear at our table. What other policy things are just deferring a whole, like, cell phone policies or something like that, like that's like.
Well, at least you don't have a high school. Cell phone policy in a high school is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Enforcing whatever policy you come up with is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Going through the process of creating a policy.
Well, that's why I was like, there's two fun ones, are like AI and cell phones,
They have
but.
to put the phone on every floor going into a classroom. They have to put the phone in.
So they will.
Well, they don't confiscate the phone and keep it for one.
Until they don't.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah, in their VES size classroom that they have, you know, I mean, it's.
Yeah. Here it's not that, it's really not I talked to Amy about that early on, you said it was not really, this is not a gigantic issue for us here.
Yeah.
But in a high school setting, large high school, yeah. And the opinions of the staff, are like polar opposite.
Correct.
From absolutely no cell phones under any circumstance to kids should have them sitting on their desk. And with equal force, like same as I am, it's like it's all, it's very controversial.
We did.
My parents want it because of safety.
Nap places we have, phone jail, you name it, everything.
Yeah.
I say it, and I think like not, kids don't have lockers that they can leave them in, so
We
you
can't even get them all, I mean, there's no.
well, that's
No
what I'm
time,
saying, like, it has to be in their backpack, or
Well, good news is,
attached to their ear.
we don't have to worry about that one.
Like, you're holding it, you're like, keeping your phone, what?
Maureen
Wait,
Mann,
what?
Maureen Mann has got backs and everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, moving out of policy finally, we can move on to the board of ed administrative goals.
Sorry.
This is, a review of our upcoming year goals. We always have our goals at the, the back side of the agenda, next to the mission statement. We did take I don't know, it was probably 5 years ago that we kind of took a greater look at creating the, whatever 8 or so that we had here.
Yeah, so I like put that good.
Yeah.
So I have some comments. So I wrote 3 new goals at the top in blue.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
who's good?
I did those.
That's great.
So here's how I look at goals. Goals, number 1, have to be of value, not just written. So having a mission inclusive of various things is totally appropriate, normal, fine, works well. You have a whole bunch of goals here. And there's not one goal here that's bad. There's nothing that, well, don't do that, there's nothing here that's like that. It's just a question of what you want out of your goals. So I approached it a little differently to try and identify 3 areas specific that can actually be targeted areas that can be discussed at board meetings or action could be seen and assessed.
That's smart goal.
Like a SMART goal, but I didn't write them as SMART goals at this time.
Yeah, right,
I can easily convert these to SMART goals. It's not-
Yeah. We kind of, the same thing, this is just a little small backstory, it's like when you're talking about board, just going over our reviews and so forth, we're like, gosh, we wanna have like that action list of like the SMART goals that we're like, this is what we wanna focus on, did we get
Right.
here? Whatever, so we're very much on
Right,
your
so
same page.
when you look at maintain a safe and orderly environment, of course you do, of course. Of course, what's the goal though? It's like, what are you reaching, what are you applying to that goal? Nothing, so I never mention it again, you just know that's what we do. And there's nothing wrong with having those things, I'm just suggesting if we add ideas that are the focus of the board, rather than a board, just a list of things that boards do. I approach it, this is like my spitballing at that. So number one, was the whole shared service thing. I think a board, and almost like an ad hoc committee of the board, or board as a whole. But an ad hoc committee is more viable, and then at board meetings, that committee reports out on how we're doing with shared services, what did we look at this round? Where are we going with this? Like, that's really valuable. And that is a goal that you can measure. It's a goal that will have an impact on the district. All the other goals also do, but you're not doing anything towards them. The board isn't acting in a way towards those other goals, right? They're just things that we know to do right, and our general behavior gets to those, but nothing specific is happening as a result of those goals. So the second one in this case was you have a strategic plan. So I'm here, almost a year now, and I've never heard anyone mention the strategic plan.
Because we're waiting for you to do it.
Well, it's very normal. It's what happens with strategic plans when they're not measured and they're not part of the fabric of how you operate. So if we want to do a real approach to that, a reboot of that, then that could be a goal of the board. And then by the end of next year, we have a newly developed strategic plan that has all the components of stakeholder engagement, all the things that are measurable, all the things that you want to see happen in the district over the course of a 3 to 5 year, depending on how you do it. And that's probably how you started the one from X ago, very normal. So I think that's a good, whenever I've come to a new place, I do them the second year, I never do them the first year. Because I don't have enough info to even give real input in the first year. So.
It's fair, yeah, I think we've been on the double gap year because I think it was due, I think we were gonna do it last year and then it we felt like it was, it wasn't fair to the board
It's good to
town
wait for it.
situation,
Yeah.
knowing you're transitioning.
No, 100%.
But
This is not a knock on anything, this is
Yeah.
this is the reality of almost every student plan I've ever seen that winds up hitting a dead spot and doesn't really become a fabric of how you operate. So when I built my first strategic plan, that was one of our quotes, was the strategic plan should be the oxygen, right? That's what you're using to make decisions, right? And so I think we could do that. I think we want to do it very successfully and take what we have done, reevaluate that, do all the surveying with the community, all the various stakeholder groups, and come up and really identify. The reality is the 3 to 5 year plan is going to have a lot of the same pillars. Like you can have an academic pillar, you can have a fiscal pillar. It's not like you're going to reinvent the universe.
Yeah.
But within those pillars, what specifically are your target areas? And how do you measure them? So anyway, I suggest, it's one of my suggestions, and the third one, looking at our education environment as a whole is something a board should constantly do. It's a constant review of, are we doing everything to the best of our ability? And everyone hears these things, they're like, oh, it wants to change. I think I've said this before, change, when you evaluate something, it's not for the purpose of change. However, change could happen. But you're not doing it to change something, you're doing it to see, are we doing it in a way that's more modernized to whatever our new existing. For example, if you had a cell phone policy from 10 years ago, it's a very different cell phone policy you need now. But if you just never looked at your cell phone policy, because you just go on it, it no longer works. Education works the same way. We all, forever, if you were into Lucy Calkins and the Columbia Writing Project, forever, that was the way to instruct. It was the way. Now it's like, you're killing kids if you do it. Things develop, I'm not saying that's good or right, or I believe that, it's just what's out there. So if we look at our educational environment, all of it, what do we see? Are we good? You guys did something very similar with your high schools. That was like a board goal. That was an outcome-based goal. You were able to look and see what you've accomplished. That's a goal. So I was trying to think of the kinds of things that you might be interested in for that. Or as we approach this going forward, if anyone has other ideas, of course, it's your goals, but really board goals are kind of district goals. It's kind of the way, unless you're making a goal about the board. Meaning if you had a goal about board governance, board meetings structure. That's another thing you might see in a board goal versus an administrative or a district goal. But here it looks like your board goals are your district goals.
We did, I'm just trying to think of what we did, Megan, when we were looking at the, I guess it was the eval. So we were looking at, like, we were looking at a draft.
That's a board, specifically board.
Yeah, and so what we tried to do here was like take the goals we had, you know, currently, and then kind of deconstruct them into bullet points that might be more actionable to the,
So that we can evaluate ourselves on our goals.
like, you know, and.
And then do you really want 10?
No, I think that's.
Like 10's a lot.
Yeah,
to do
it was,
that.
I did it,
That was a
and it
lot.
was like,
That was a
oh,
lot.
okay, we're gonna get there from there, and now we're gonna carve this one out here, and it was, whatever, I mean, we'll probably all have a draft of it, but that's kind of where I was going with it, so I like the fact that we can, it might be broad, it might be something that's kind of more overarching, but then there's like, you know, sub-stacks of it that kind of lean out what's our real, you know, activity that we're measuring for that,
Right, so-
for that year.
Whatever we choose, or if you wanted to do it the same way, and just use the ones, we can take those and then restructure a couple to be your target areas. Right, so you're literally doing work specifically to meet those goals. We're always doing work to meet safe and orderly environment. But really, what is the board doing in that sense, unless you're studying your safety procedures, or you're studying your security systems, or your drills? But if you are, that becomes a goal, but if you focus, I'm just suggesting if you focus, you can, it becomes less perfunctory and more deliberate. And deliberate work usually has better outcomes. Just in general. Now, I'm not saying these are the three, I just put, so you were asking on here, Dee Dee, I wouldn't do any motions today at all.
No.
I would say you have some idea, I'm going to give you my perspective.
Discussion.
Those are not written in any specific, you know, quality way necessarily, I didn't really, I just want to throw something out there for you. And however you want to look at this, if you like some of the other ones and you want to focus on some of those, I do suggest picking something to focus on. 1, 2, or 3 things, rather than just have a list of goals that are pretty common in any board's goal sheet. Toss it out there.
Well, we know that's always gonna be a.
Yep.
good word.
So I said, it's a second reading.
Yeah, I do love the shared
No
service
demerits
one,
on
though.
yet.
I would strongly suggest that particular one, but the other ones are ideas, but the shared service one is very potential, long-term, very huge positive impact on our kids. So something to do with that would be a great one for the board, nice and shiny too.
Did you use ChatGPT to write it?
I did not, I didn't spend any real energy on the writing of these, it just is more conceptual.
Fair, that's fair. I was just wondering, who's the magical, you know, who's doing the editing? I was looking at it. It's you, Scott, okay. We love it, but. And not no shade on the strategic plan, we really do.
Yes.
We're gonna get together, it's gonna be, we're super, I think, you know, before you came, we were super excited that that was the direction we're going. We value the 2-year, you know, situation on that, because there's a lot to take in for the year and to.
And if you do that, if you spend time on strategic plan, you're basically, the goal is the completion of the plan. The goals within the strategic plan then become your future goals. Right, so for next year, your goal could be strategic plan. But then after that, what's in the plan becomes the target. And what year they're supposed to happen, and you know, all the stuff you probably did last time.
Well, I know that there is also a timeline though, I'm concerned that there's like a rush on administrative goals, right, that we need to meet to get those out. Is there like a timeline that we're concerned with?
I mean, we publish in August, so, I mean, that's what, I mean, just normally what happens, not until the start of the next school year, you know.
Okay. I'm just thinking like the administrative goals, so these,
Again,
What's the red?
anything with this many goals,
Yeah.
I honestly, I look at it, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
this is too
So
many.
the red is me, but I don't see anybody else's color ink on here.
I know.
It's only
I
me.
asked you about it, you answered, I'm like,
I'm
okay,
just like,
Too many words, is that
I'm
what
like, it's so long, I mean, but this is just how we've, like,
I know,
that-
yeah.
this is just how
what
it's
I'm-
always been,
But this
so.
is not goals, is what we've done.
It really is a list of what we've done and then just what we do, it's not anything.
Well, it's not goals.
I looked at it like, I was like, I looked at it, I'll be honest with you, I asked Amy what this was,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I don't understand what that even is.
He's like, why do you do this?
Why do you do this? And of course, I knew the answer was gonna be, I don't know, there's no reason.
So wouldn't our strategic plan kind
It
of
would.
overlap
It-
this?
it
And this
would.
is what our strategic plan is about.
Because the administrative goals then are about how to achieve what's in the plan.
Right.
And
Because
sometimes
our
you
strategic
get
plan
like
is
a board.
goal, those others are objectives to meet the goals,
So if you're doing a board like you described, Kate, a board governance type thing you were doing. Like, we're gonna evaluate ourselves on this. That's board governance. That's a board goal for the board. Right? Strategic plan is the district. And then the board should look at the strategic plan and then say, what do we do as a board to help achieve this? That's how it works. You have your strategic plan, then you have your board, then you have admin, and that's a structure that could funnel real outcomes specific to whatever it is the strategic plan, has been devised to do.
Right.
I honestly, I looked at administrative goals, and I'm gonna say this, I know I'm being recorded, I didn't look at them again. I gave them one look, I spent maybe a few minutes going, whoa. Emailed Amy, and that was really the last time I looked at those. And that's not right, I'm wrong in doing it that way. That was overwhelming. Like, which goal do you want me to target?
I
So which
just be
10
curious
goals
what
are we
you,
talking?
in your experience, are good formats of that, so I'm happy to see a draft of that.
Sample.
So the format would be written as a SMART type goal, written with all the elements of a goal that includes, the big one is measurable.
Right.
Yep.
That's a big piece. If the goal's not measurable, it generally doesn't ever amount to anything. And we've got so many years of goal work and
But this,
that's what the goal should be written.
we have like two sort of overlapping documents. This should drive, this drives what happened here. Make any sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
For sure.
so we have to probably work on this before we work on this.
but I was only asking if there was like a timeline that we were
Yeah.
bumped up against for any reason, so if not,
But we don't.
But if you were drawing, so I don't know if in schools, do you guys have sort of required personalized professional development plan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
PLC.
PLCs, but, so generally you'd have a big goal for a teacher, let's say, that would be, like, I want to learn how to do questioning better, I want my students to be better critical thinkers, that's gonna require me to be better at educating myself on how to be a critical questioner. So then the work associated with that particular teacher is on how I'm gonna learn to do that, and how's that gonna be measured. That's a pretty standard goal, and that would be it. If Amy's in charge of 30 or 40 goals, that's not real. It's just not, like, I know being critical, I'm sorry, but it's not real.
These are just accomplishments, there's no.
yeah.
That's fine, then have a list of accomplishments, but there's not an administrative goal.
It's not really boring.
Which then turned into the eval structure, so.
Yeah.
Which we, we're slowly backing into the
Yeah.
first way,
Yeah.
we're changing the eval structure, and then the eval structure, and
We've been
then,
talking about this for years.
yeah, so it's like, we're just backing into
We
it.
agree with you.
Because we're in the wrong strategic plan mindset, so once we get the mindset, we'll be able to frame it all very,
With the strategic plan, the question I did want to ask you about that, I'm hearing that is something to do for next year. Is, in the past, who ran your strategic plan? Was it Adam, or did you hire someone?
Adam.
Okay, so we can do it that way as well, I've done many of these, but sometimes it is nice to have no one, an outside, sometimes you can never be the master of your own house, you can never be an expert in your own home. There's value in sometimes, but the downside to that is very expensive, even for small. I could see it costing 20 grand
No.
to do that.
We hope
So, in that sense, I think we just do it ourselves.
Yes.
Which-
You can chat GPT it.
Yeah, but
We're a really small town.
No, I'm just,
Take one meeting.
but like, it's the surveys, did you guys do all that last time?
Well, it's usually the input of like, we'll have like I haven't even been to a meeting, there hasn't been one, I think, since I've been on board, so, or I've been chair, so. But there's been breakout groups
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah, all
and
those.
then there's, from there, they send out sort of.
A long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah.
We kind of just use the same thing
Yeah.
every year, updated it.
And again, this is normal, it's not like Voluntown is this abnormal, this is what happens, especially happens when there's so many words.
Yeah.
Rather than very small,
Targeted.
deliberate, targeted goals, that you can achieve those. It's the same thing, you know, with everything, anyone's bandwidth is only what it is. Yeah. But I think Amy should do all those as well,
I think she has.
by Friday.
She'll come up with 3.
Fidelity.
Keep it simple.
Or like write up on each goal.
I'm sure there's lots that Cape offers for strategic planning.
Oh, I'm sure, they might be expensive. Maybe the safest way to go about it.
They might.
I think that Mary's done
I could reach
that.
out to Mary.
Yeah,
And ask her.
she's probably a very knowledgeable
I
person.
don't think we're interested in 20 grand.
No,
No,
But hey, that's something.
they know we would never do that.
yes, and they wouldn't even be charged.
That's a no-go. Okay, well, good launch point on the discussion there, and we're, which is good, you know, Aaron, you would work to do, and we're very pleased with that work, I think we
That's a
give
goal of the
ourselves.
year, though.
Yeah, I feel like
That's a goal.
we're
Like,
75% there.
let me give, I know, Blake, but let me give you one more example. So one of your goals is hire, support, and retain top teaching talent. So what did the board do in the last 2 years for that goal?
That was a forced mandated goal. No.
Right, but that could be something that the board does want to focus on. And then we would create action steps, and we create ways to assess and all that. It's not a good one for us, I mean, we're, that isn't really, but it's just having stuff written down dilutes, it just dilutes the work.
Again.
Okay, I'm now done about goals. You should, yeah.
I just told her that while she's doing all the goal work, I'm gonna schedule you with all your free time to come talk about
Policy.
policy.
You know, I'm very busy the rest of the year. I have a thing. I gotta do my hair.
Well, we hire top talent because we lose it, you know, we tend to like have to hire somebody every single year. Our hiring process is top tier. And we're very, very pleased with the top talent we have secured. And we try not to lose any of our top talent
That's
by
exactly right.
providing a culture of excellence to the Voluntown. So
There you go, goal met.
we have to obviously work within the state, federal, and district guidelines and the resources they give us, which is nothing. So
We use all of them.
we saw that, they're all offended, so I think that one is great. So, there we are, capital improvement plan.
So, we just really quick, we talked about what we did, the plan, there it is. So this is very simple. The big deal here was the meeting this morning and the meetings we had with the building committee on these $85,000 for generator. We needed that money freed, not hung in this generator world that might not happen for 10 years, and you can't touch this money. But no, there was no appetite nor interest in getting, just taking more money for the sake of getting more money. So we devised a plan to call it the critical infrastructure, utilizing the building committee. That way the town always knew that it was gonna be used for the appropriate purpose it was put in there for, which was a critical infrastructure need, right? And so we've been working on that, and today I think we had a good breakthrough on that. And so pretty much the immediate needs, one is happening next week. It's the plan to do the HVAC in the library. Next immediate need is we have a 3,000 gallon water tank holder in the basement that looks like it is about 90 to 300 years old. And it looks like it's about to blow any minute when you look
It
at
didn't
it.
pass code, right? It didn't-
No, it didn't fail anything today.
Failed.
I passed it, I put a big sticker on it with a smiley face. It is, when it goes, if that was to go, whew, we got problems. So,
It's basically gonna corrode into the entire basement, like that's the problem, it's more of the corrosive elements of it.
so
The
what
other problem is that the basement was built around it, so
Right.
there's no way of
we have to chop it to pieces,
pulling it out without chopping.
but we don't have to remove it. So the beauty is we don't have to remove it. We can repipe it, kill it, just leave it there dead. There's enough room in that room to put, and we don't need 3,000 gallons, it's a 3,000 gallon tank. We can replace it with brand new plastic tanks, 4 or 5 of them. I think it's 5 400 gallon tanks. It's $30,000. And it is currently at the top of our list of, gotta get it done. So by removing the restriction on the generator account and using the drip funds that we are using for the HVAC project, applying the other 10,000 to this project, we will use about 20,000 out of the 85, keep the other 65,000 in a critical infrastructure account. And then each year, we can decide how we deal with that, so we don't have to keep going to taxpayers for things that we can try to manage long-term.
Can they accomplish that through a special town meeting, or are they waiting for the budget?
It has to be through the budget time, it's gonna be an add-on.
Okay.
I'm gonna explain it at the budget meeting, so we make sure the town understands, no one's asking for 85,000 more dollars, because that would be the easy thing to confuse.
Right.
And we don't want that, because we want it to pass, so we can free up money to use it instead of having to, because if we don't do that, where am I getting $30,000 to replace the oil, to replace the tanks?
Yeah.
I have to either budget it, town has to budget, someone has to budget it. But since the town's people already agreed to this money, let's utilize it to the best of its ability.
Just call it.
And then slowly build back up for the fire panel, which will be next. It won't be the generator, it's gonna be the fire panel. Once we have the fire panel figured out, that will be the next big project. But right now, we have, like I described in the budget presentation, we're saving for the roof, but the air conditioning goes, you don't not do the air conditioning just because you save money for the roof, you still gotta deal with it, it's the way it goes. So, this is a very positive thing.
Now is plastic the state of the art?
This is what the way you go now.
Even with all the stuff on
Yeah.
PVC, is it micro?
No, again, someone smarter than me could describe what kind of plastic this is, I mean, I don't really know that, but it is the standard.
Okay.
And it's manageable here because without busting through, like you can see, if you go down there to the wall, you can see how they got that thing in. You know, what happened, the whole wall, so you're talking about digging into the ground, you can't, the expense to remove that was more than the project itself by quite a bit. So we can leave it, just kill it, leave it there, and do that. So that's a project we're looking at for the summer. So next month, I'm hoping this is an easy pass for the budget, so the budget talks or whatever that process is in the town, and then that will free up that money, we can go to work on that project. The HVAC project, we're using drip funds, so there's no, so again, it's using what you have, maximizing that, so we don't have to keep asking for money. If you keep asking for money all the time, then when you really need the money, it's boy who cried wolf. So, I think I told you, probably during the interview process, if I ask for money, it's because I don't have any other solution. Otherwise, I really don't do that. So,
I see here on this, it says on the building committee, Jack was the one looking to having a tank removed by a bonded company.
we had the company give us a quote on the removal of the tank.
Okay,
It's a no.
okay. It says to make extra money, but nobody wants it.
Or freebie, no.
No.
We're paying someone a lot of money to remove
Yeah, the
it.
scrap.
They have to
is
chop
not-
it to pieces.
Yeah, it's not.
And it has to be a license.
Yeah.
We would never let anyone on non-bonded down there.
Yeah, I just saw that at the end there. Okay.
Yeah, Brian, you're Brian.
Yeah.
He was down there also. That thing's gotta go. Yeah, I mean, listen, it happens, it's old buildings, what do you do? You gotta maintain.
Older than the old
maintain.
oil tank, you know, I mean, like, that's definitely lived its way for sure.
Yeah, you use that.
It's just, it's interesting, like, when you think about it, it wasn't leaking, you know, at the time, like, it wasn't doing okay, but it's just, it's had its time, it's run its time, of course. That's what these things have, I mean, the fire, I know the fire panel, we've talked about it, and it's,
A number of
It's-
years.
yeah, and we are down the path together, moving at options, like, that's really the research stage we have to be at, it's not a, you know, like, it's gonna be fine. No, we're researching what really, all the different levels of what we need basics done, and what the, kind of, where the future can go with it, but we have to budget for that. Okay.
Yep.
So that's, we already got that one going. 8th graders' last day of school and graduation date, I see that. I knew you would be upset. Are you just trying to do this? Got 3 years to figure it out, 2 years to figure it out.
Like, we can't have siblings, the problem is, we always do anticipate, like, who has a sibling at a high school that's graduating, and there are years when that happens, and there's graduation on Friday night of a sibling, so we don't wanna do that to a family and make them have to choose, so it has to be Monday.
So
And I don't
Monday,
like
that
Mondays.
15th doesn't say it on the agenda, that's a Monday. Or graduation, so get those balloons
I
out,
don't know
order
why
that
she's
fine
still
catering, and have it on Monday.
Like, I can't have it on Monday. That's
Trust us, we wanna have it
not-
Friday too, but
Yeah.
So the last day is
The
the,
snow and everything.
so the last day will be the 12th,
Jack's not here
For eighth
anymore.
grade.
Correct.
Jackie was always the
and graduation
No,
the
I blame
15th. Okay.
Amy or Darlene usually for most things.
Okay, so
We have
And the
we
motion,
do have to just make a motion to approve the last day of the 8th graders is Friday the 6th.
12th, the 12th, sorry, I had it, the 12th.
Sorry, 12th.
I,
make a motion,
my bad,
and the last day is,
I had it written down wrong,
we do it all over.
I gave it to her wrong.
It's
We
on.
did that already. This is just your graduation. Last days.
I missed the motion.
See the motion?
yes,
Okay, thank you,
Seconded.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard, motion passes. Out-of-state field trip approval.
Motion.
and
Until they're getting tired.
Go
I wanna
on.
Personnel, one
Okay.
motion, all personnel.
Okay, Sorry.
Goodness, so I've got reading here.
I'm so
To
sorry,
appoint, what, a motion on personnel,
just do all of it.
yes. To appoint Lainey Martin as a bus driver, to appoint Robert
She's awesome, by the way.
Logan as a middle school teacher. Ooh, Robert Logan, as a middle, okay.
You know,
Pending, no, I'm just interested in the positions now, I'm like, oh, yeah, what do I do? Pending certification practice test and fingerprint testing results. And appoint Caitlin Stockford as a summer school special education teacher. And to accept the resignation of Lydia Snyder as a custodian effective June 30th.
Motion.
second,
So I just share a little bit why Lydia's leaving. Lydia is going to Johnson Wales. And I did make her promise to bring me pastries.
Good for her. No.
Yeah, Lydia is going to Johnson Wales, so she's been great for us. Good for her.
And the middle school teacher, is that a replacement for
Karen Britt.
Karen Britt?
Yeah, Amy put these people through a lot. She interviews them, then she makes them do demo lessons, then she does stuff to them, I don't know. What she does. But, we had a solid group. Like, we did the first round of interviews and a really solid group. And, it was not an easy selection. He was fantastic, but the other candidates were also really good. So it was really nice to have such a good group. So, and all the teachers are involved, the whole middle school team was involved. So Amy runs a nice ship with that, so, he's a good guy.
How do you say? Loken? Loken? Loken.
He goes by Bobby.
Bobby, okay. Welcome, Bobby. All right, well, great motion. We already motioned. Well, we started the motion, so
Okay.
I did a motion, you said motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard? And that's all, decent news.
Yes, we have a G and an H, right? A propane and a non.
No, we have more to go, I'm just excited that it, the personnel, like, that's just the personnel, so. Now, yep, okay.
Okay. That's one cookie. That's one cookie. If I can have a cookie.
Go get a cookie.
Go have a cookie on donuts. Oh, wait.
So we did get.
Sorry, you sit, I'm gonna get you a cookie. The board goals, Scott will get cookies.
Right, so everybody's, does it matter which one we do first? We're doing that renewal first?
That's my big one.
I was gonna say, are you still awake back
It's up
there?
to
I'm
you.
shocked.
Okay.
You
Oh,
guys to get up early on the grand coming.
It's nice to see you.
I know, feels good.
It's a lot of fraternizing going on over there.
Okay, we will, take up the propane vendor item.
okay.
What, can I just go to the motion for the non-renew?
Oh, sure, I didn't know if there was an order of things.
I
did
just really
one
wanted
and
to
you wrote
say-
the other one.
We wrote it this way specifically, this is solely about, this is solely about, but this is not even budget, it's enrollment. It's like, we weren't looking to reduce, we would love this person to stay with us, it's a great person. Just it's a situation you can't do anything about this, you can't do it, but, if anything changes in the future years and we get more kids back, then hopefully we'll have an opportunity. So, I did wanna say that out loud publicly as well. But, you know, I think she's, you know, hate to see this, it's not one of those fun things. It's, you know, but good day. Yeah, so.
So, we just need the motion that the board pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 10-151, non-renew the contract of non-tenured employee number 193 effective at the end of 2025-26 school year, and that superintendent be authorized to provide written notice to the teacher of this action. And
Motion. With regrets.
with regrets, yes. With serious regrets, it's just, it's not something we like to do as a board generally, and it's always a tough thing, and that's, considering the discussion we've had around it, I think it's, you know, it's just a tough thing, but the size is what triggers it, so hopefully we can find something. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions, not heard, and so motion does pass. To do the work.
If there's more, better.
Okay, the propane vendor. So we all heard that we are getting quality propane at a better price and service, hopefully service contract, because they can all get us for a better price when they want to, and then services will go when need to.
Yeah, good guys,
Yeah.
good guys, really nice guys.
Motion. Second.
All in favor, motion passes to authorize the superintendent to sign a contract with quality.
Aye.
Okay. So, we need a motion to, invite Scott Feather, Superintendent Scott Feather, for the purpose of discussing personnel as per CT statute 1-206A.
Motion, we have to schedule a second board meeting tentatively for May after the vote, in case it fails. Or like the 28th or whatever it would be. Does it have to be done now or can it be done at the May meeting?
I think it may be done later.
Okay.
We might take a second meeting or special meeting. I think that's what we've done in the past, is just relied on our priority plan date.
Okay.
And then I think when if we've gotten, then we had to do some
Yeah, they're
creative
already there.
meetings. Okay, so, yeah, so with that,
We
we
need
can
a second.
enter at,
We need a second, I didn't hear.
oh, sorry, second,
Thank you.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Hopefully there's some warmer weather when
Next week.
Next week.